Good morning, everybody. Fancy Nancy Drew here. So in my last video, I talked about life being crazy. I talked about how sometimes I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, and quite frankly, living in a cloudy, gray sky, rainy state leaves me depressed a lot of the time. But for the most part, I'm a happy person. I try to be positive. I try to keep a smile on my face, and um, I try to just deal with the crazy around me. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about that whole crazy, and not just life being crazy, but me being crazy. And not that I'm really crazy. I mean, yeah, my family, my friends, they like to joke about it, and I joke about it too. Am I crazy, crazy? I don't know. I mean, anything's possible, right? What I am, though, is somebody who has mental illness. And this is not an easy subject to talk about. As a matter of fact, most people with mental illness would rather just hide. Who wants to talk about the fact that there's something wrong with them? But the truth is, and let me back it up and say, in addition to something being wrong with us, until recently, mental illness just was an ugly name, and it wasn't getting enough attention, and the attention it got was all pretty negative, and people, professionals, didn't even want to acknowledge that mental illness is an illness, a disease. And the truth is that it very much is, just like heart disease, diabetes, glaucoma, and on and on and on. And also, like glaucoma, there's no cure. So whether you have glaucoma or bipolar disorder, you're going to have it for the rest of your life. But like glaucoma, mental illness is treatable. What I didn't tell you about mental illness is that according to the World Health Organization, or WHO, mental illness affects 1 in 4, or 25% of the population. 25%, that means, everywhere you look, 1 in 4 people is suffering with some form of mental illness. And it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, an adult, a child, gay, straight, black, white, or anything else. Mental illness affects people regardless of who they are, where they came from, what they look like. And in most cases, I shouldn't say most cases, but in a number of cases, it's a chemical. So something within your brain chemically is off, and you need to find ways to make it chemically balanced again. So you can see behind me, there are a number of types of mental illness and a number of symptoms, disorders, and this is just a small handful of what could potentially be wrong with you or with me. I picked things that actually affect me or that I believe. Some are real diagnosis, some is self-diagnosis, because I got tired of not getting anywhere in therapy. Because yes, I used to talk to somebody. I had talked to everybody. I talked to myself, but professionals. I started therapy in high school, and I continued in college, and I even saw a counselor. I kind of hesitate to say that because I talked, but there wasn't a whole lot of it. We didn't go very deep. I mostly, I'm not going to lie, I did what I had to do just to take prescription drugs. I'd never taken them before. I didn't believe in it. But by the time I was, I had 3 small children and a stepson, and I had been struggling with mental illness the majority of my life, and I was tired of feeling the way that I was feeling, acting the way that I was acting, and how it affected my loved ones. So I tried a number of different prescription drugs until I found one that worked, and eventually I got off of it. But every day I'm aware of my mental illness, and should I go back to counseling? Should I go back to prescription drugs? I'm not a huge fan of modern medicine. I prefer to do things as naturally, as organically as I can. Um, so I've gone to God for help. I've used self-help books. I've even used CBD oils. I have done a number of different treatments to try and help me. Um, and one thing that's not even on my board is suicide. Suicide is very real, and if you succeed with suicide, your life is over. So if you're feeling suicidal, please, please, please pick up the phone, call a family member, call a friend, or call the suicide helpline. Um, it's not worth it. And even though you may not be able to see it, somebody out there loves you, and somebody will be devastated at the end of your life. So please get some help. And I don't want to get too deep into anything. We can talk about mental illness a lot in the future. But ADHD, OCD, bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression, these are all things that I struggle with. Panic attacks, addiction, anger, sadness, fear. These are all symptoms. These are all things that I struggle with, sometimes daily. So while I keep a smile on my face, anger is very real. Sadness is very real. And I research these things all the time to try and figure out where they came from, because you can't really move forward until you've looked at the past and where you came from and how these things came about. So again, I'm not going to get too heavy today. I would like to talk about this further. If you'd like to talk about it with me, leave some comments, leave some questions. What's bothering you? And know that it's okay. It's okay if you struggle with some of these same things that I struggle with. It's okay if you struggle with some that I haven't even mentioned. And there's a lot out there. There's a lot of mental illness. There's a lot of disorders, eating disorders, personality disorders, sleeping disorders, addiction. Oh gosh, there's so many types of addiction. And there's just, mental illness is huge, and again, it affects 25% of the population. And is something wrong with you? Yes. But when you have heart disease, is something wrong with you? Yes, something's wrong with your heart. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you're ashamed, it's okay. If you're afraid, it's okay. But know that you're not alone, and that there's help. And I want you to find that help. I want us to get help together, because while this world is a scary place and mental illness can be very debilitating, we live on a beautiful planet that has so much to offer, so much to see. And I know that, me personally, I want to see the world. I want to experience life. I want to be happy. I want to live a long, healthy life, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I want to be a better person, and I want to help you be a better person too. I want you to know that it's okay, that you're not alone, and that you can get treatment. So, if you want to join me on this healthy journey, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Follow along. See what I'm doing to make life better. Learn about where I've come from and some of the hard struggles that have brought me to the place that I am right now. But let me know you're out there. Share a little something with me, and do your best to have the most amazing day, and I'll see you next time.